Please. Thank you. Can you guys hear me now? Hmm. Plug that mic in. Let's see. Hold on. We got a mic. Let's see if that's working. Okay. Can Can you guys hear me now? This is not good.
I can't even push on the live.
Okay, desktop audio. Hmm. Why can we not hear? This is frustrating. So, mhm. Can you guys hear me now?
I hear desktop audio.
Huh?
I'm looking it up.
Mm-hmm. Microphone, real tech audio. Can you guys?
Go to settings.
We're on settings.
Alright, go to settings. Advanced audio properties.
This is.
Advanced. It's saying
I know this is settings.
you hit the settings button right there. Not over there. It's in the desktop audio, and it should be a button that we can push.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
We can't see.
Well, I saw the little thing moving.
Yeah, there should be say something in there.
I know, but it like quit moving, so I was trying to see. Well, if all else fails, volume was good. Okay, so you guys can hear me now? Somebody say something else again, because we clicked around and stuff. So go to the live and see if you can see it.
Let me push you.
Okay. Such is life. This is one of those things where uh things don't always go as planned. Da, 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 da. But I'm choosing happiness. So what I wanted to talk to you all about today was daydreaming and what daydreaming looks like. Diamond, can you see if you can find a clip for this? Hold on, you guys. The clip was in the seat. Maybe it fell. I had it. I found it.
You got it?
No, I don't know where it is. Okay, so you guys, I gotta hold the mic. I don't know what happened to the clip. I found the clip and I thought I put it over here, but maybe it might be on the desk. Anywho, hey, love. We're gonna improvise. If we don't know how to do anything else, Bougie Club, we know how to improvise. So we're gonna improvise. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you all about daydreaming. And daydreaming from the standpoint of expectation of your experience. So, we've talked about the evolution for quite some time. And the evolution is the process of developing a level of faith to manifest your dreams. And the evolution is part of the egg. And the egg is an acronym for experience, grow, give. And so I want to talk to you all about daydreaming your experiences and then doing some stuff to kind of grow in expectation for those experiences. So the best way I can do, the best way I know to do is to give you an example. Because I know one thing that's frustrating for me is when I go to a training and they tell me what to do, but not how to do it. So I'm going to give you an example of how to do it. Unbeknownst to me, I have been doing this for years. And you guys are probably doing it too and don't even probably realize it or think about it in this context. So I want to give you a little focus on some of these things that we already do so that you can consciously do it and intentionally do it for the purpose of cracking your egg. So I remember I got my first job when I was 14 through junior achievement. So when I first started getting my check, I knew that when I got out of school, I wanted to move into my own place and leave from home, right? I don't know. My kids never wanted to move out, but that was like a big thing for me. I wanted my own place. So when I first started getting checks, I started my hope chest. And I started buying things for the apartment house, whatever it was I was going to have when I got old enough to move out of my mom's house. Now, the key to this is I didn't know where I was going to move, what it was going to look like. All I just knew is that I was going to go and I wanted to be prepared. So what I started doing with my little checks was buying stuff. I started off with my kitchen. And I bought like cooking utensils. I bought dishes. I even bought a microwave. And I was just like saving all of this stuff in my room. And I started about 14. Now, 14 was a long way away from moving out, even though I ended up moving out at 17. But the point is, in that moment, the reality of it was a long way off. But I started preparing for it. So by the time I got ready to move into my first place, I had everything except for like a vacuum cleaner and my furniture. But all those other incidentals, like I had my towels already, my little bathroom set, and all of that stuff. And so that's where I want you guys to kind of think and go when I talk about daydreaming, because many of us have things that we want to experience and in our present reality that don't seem like they're possible. But I want to encourage you to start daydreaming and preparing for it. And that preparing is essentially how you're going to grow to be able to have it, because we ask God for a lot of stuff, but the truth is the delay is we're not ready to receive, or we're not really expecting what we ask for. But we have to understand when we ask, it is given in accordance to our level of belief. Now, this is not the book of J. Penelope. It's a whole big old book with a bunch of people talking in it that I want y'all to refer to, and y'all know what that book is. So recently, I did my own daydreaming. And so I'm going to share with you all my daydreaming experience and how I kind of have interwoven the daydreaming into reality. So as you all know, this time last year, I was living with my son, Judah. And I was okay with that. I wasn't okay with that, but it just was what it was. And so in February, March, one of those, I moved into my own place. And I was kind of strategic in moving into my own place because my place where I currently live now was a stretch space. And when I say it was a stretch place, it pushed me totally out of my comfort zone because I grew up with my children. I had my first child at 16. So this is my first experience ever living alone. Oddly enough, because in my first place, I had my kids with me. And so this apartment, it's an apartment condo. It's a condo, it's a loft, it's an apartment. But you know, they give it fancy names. And so anyway, it's one bedroom. And so it was really scary for me to move into a one bedroom because that was like confirmation and solidifying the fact that I'm an empty nester, or that a particular season that had defined my whole adult life was over. So now I'm discovering who J. Penelope is as a single adult woman without the responsibility of children, because my children, all three of them, are adults now. So that was scary. And then I'm living in this space by myself. The other stretch was this is the most expensive place that I've ever lived in. So that was another stretch. Not that I can't afford it, but there is a mindset shift that has to happen in order for you to elevate into the things that you desire and the things that you are praying for that are bigger than your current reality. And sometimes that mindset And the inability to shift into the new mindset is what keeps us in place or stuck, if you will. So you have to figure out ways to stretch your mindset so that your um, reality that you're aspiring for feels more real or feels more organic. If you listen to motivational and transformational speakers where they talk about you got to feel it first, I'm going to give you a sense of how I've applied feeling it first, because your mindset is what has to change. Everything else will follow. And the mindset shift is the most difficult thing to do when you talk about elevation. So I moved into this place because I've always wanted to live. If you're familiar with Memphis, we have Riverside Drive. And when you drive down Riverside Drive, you can look up and you see these big pretty houses on the bluff. Now, supposedly, I haven't did any fact checks with the county assessors, but the Grizzly players own houses on the bluff. Sybil Shepherd owned a house on the bluff at one time. Justin Timberlake owns a house on the bluff at one point, and in the near future, Jay Penelope is gonna own a house on the bluff. So let me tell you what my daydreaming looks like. So when I look out the window of my loft, behind me, so I live in the lofts at South Bluff. So I actually live on a bluff in a condominium building, and behind me are the houses that are on the bluff, and it's like a whole neighborhood in a gated community. And so by living in this condo, I have access to the neighborhood. And so one of the things for me was with this apartment, when I chose it, I was like, if I want to live on the bluff, I have to get comfortable in this environment, because this is a stretch environment for me. I don't know anybody. Well, I didn't know anybody that lived over here. This was just something that was a dream. But when you talk about living on the bluff, it's a level up in expenses. So just to be transparent, because y'all know I ain't got nothing to hide, and I'll get naked with y'all and I tell y'all my business, because we've been riding for like what, 3 years. So y'all know the transition of the level, so you can appreciate what I'm telling you and you can see the reality in what I'm telling you, because I'm just like y'all. I'm just an ordinary person striving to achieve some extraordinary things. So my payment here is $2,000. So the average unit in this building runs anywhere from like 250 to 250,000 and up for a unit. We actually have a unit in here that's like 800,000, to give you an idea of the price range, right? But if you want to live on a house on a bluff, those houses start at like $1 million. So when you talk about a $2,000 payment to a $5,000 or $6,000 payment, there's a mindset shift that has to occur in order to be able to do that level up. So for me, one of the challenging things is being comfortable and being okay and knowing that I belong here, knowing that it's okay for me to spend my money this way, because when you come from a background of lack and a background of poverty, when you start making money, your first inclination is to hold on to it and don't spend any of it. And I'm not saying don't be frugal, don't be wise, don't budget, don't spend your money wisely. But what I'm also wanting to tell you is, as long as you hold on to it, you can't receive more of it. And so you have to be willing to spend in order to get more. So one of those things that I've had to realize is that when I spend my money, I'm helping somebody else fund their dreams, because it's a job involved. So when I look at paying my payment, I know that my payment is paying for the two ladies that work at the front desk. I know that part of my payment is funding the salaries for the maintenance men that work every day to keep the property up and keep the hallways clean and things like that. And so it's not so much that I'm spending the money to live in a particular place, it's also that I'm investing in other people's lives, because the funds that I'm contributing in the form of the payment is creating jobs, which is one of those things that was a goal for me for starting my own company. And so I moved into this place because I wanted to get comfortable with being in this area. And so my goal was that I was going to be here for a year and then I was going to move across the street. Now, let's be clear. There is nothing about my bank account today that says I have the funds to move across the street. But that does not mean that I'm not preparing to move across the street. So this is what I'm talking about when I say daydreaming. When I wake up and I look at my window, I look across the street and I can remind myself that this place is only temporary because eventually you're going to be across the street. You already in the neighborhood. I'm already in the zip code. So what can you do to put you in the zip code of the dream that you're aspiring for? Perhaps you want to go on a trip, and I'm using a trip because I've been traveling a lot. And when I travel, a lot of you all start talking, have mentioned that you want to travel too. So what are you doing to daydream and prepare for your traveling? Because I don't know about y'all, luggage is a big thing. So one of the things that we had to do when we went to Dubai is me and Julian had to buy luggage. Luggage is something that you can buy now in preparation for this dream trip that might not happen until next year or 2 years from now or 3 years from now. But today you can daydream by picking out the luggage. Today you can daydream by going online and researching, what are the rules and stuff for flying. Miss D, if you on here, y'all, Miss D took her first flight this weekend. She came over a couple of months ago. And this is another thing. Use your resources. Find somebody that you can trust with your dream. So Miss D texted me one day and she was like, Jay, I need help booking a flight. And she came over here and we went online and we searched the different websites and I showed her how to use Priceline and stuff and the different websites to get an idea for what the flight would cost, and then showed her how to go directly to the airline to book the flight and kind of explain some stuff to her. And she bought her ticket. But there was still stuff to her dream trip that she had to plan. So what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter if you can't do it all right now. How can you daydream to get prepared for the manifestation? So you can be seeing, pick a destination. Where do you want to go? Research that destination. Google what time is the best time to travel to that destination. Learn about traveling and when peak season is and off peak season and how that affects the prices. Go buy you some luggage. If you can't buy the whole suitcase, go buy you one of those little traveling cases, the cosmetic kits that has the little toiletry containers that are the specific size that you can carry in your carry-on bag. Watch some YouTube videos on how to pack a carry-on bag. There are some things that you can do to daydream to get closer to the manifestation, because the more you prepare, the faster God can give it to you. I'm just saying this because I've tried it and I look up and I'm like, man, I forgot I even asked for this. So say you want to buy a house, right? And so your credit score jacked up and it's janky right now, and your bank account say that you can't buy a house right now, or perhaps you don't even have a job to buy a house right now. That doesn't preclude you from doing some daydreaming to prepare for this house. So what do you know about purchasing a house? Do you have a bank account at a bank that is lender friendly to people who have credit issues? Credit unions are a little more lenient. I don't want to say lenient, but they're a little more advantageous to certain people if you have credit history trouble than say a major bank. So have you opened up a account at a credit union? Start picking out, go to the store and get some magazines on different kitchens. Like, what type of kitchen do you want in your house? There's some things that you can start doing to prepare for this prayer, this dream, this experience that you're asking for. Like, even though you can't do it right now and everything around you says that it can't happen right now, you can start daydreaming. So one of the things that I did for daydreaming, because remember, I'm trying to get across the street. Listen, there's nothing about my current financial situation to say I got $1.3 million to drop on the house. Nothing. Absolutely. But you know what? I'm expecting to move across the street. So in moving across the street, what house do I want to live in across the street? So a couple of weeks ago, me, Diamond, and Judah, there's a house that I've been looking at since I moved into this apartment, condo, whatever you want to call it, and it's still on the market. So we walked the neighborhood to figure out how to get to it. And I went and I took a picture on the steps, and we just sat there, and then you know how kids play that's my car. Did y'all ever do that when y'all were younger? You sit on the porch, and as the car go by, you say, that's my car, that's my car, that's my car. We walked through the neighborhood like, okay, ooh, I would like to live there. Ooh, I would like to live there. Now, mind you, we don't know nothing about what these houses look like on the inside. Me and my sister used to do that when they would be building up subdivisions, and we would go in and look at the model homes and stuff like that. So I'm encouraging you to daydream, even though you're a whole adult. Learn how to tap into daydreaming. So 2 weeks ago, we just walked the neighborhood and I went in front of the house. Today, we actually went to a showing of the house, and we got to meet the owner agent of the house, and she took us on a tour. And so the pictures of the house were amazing, but guess what? When we got to looking in the house wasn't just uh a $1.3 million. Wow, I'm just gonna be honest. Was it nice? Yes. But I wasn't just really super duper impressed where I was like, ooh, I want this one. So, but I would have never known that unless I went into it. And so that's daydreaming and making it more of a reality. And I sat down in the middle of the floor, and they gave me some time, and I meditated. I got to run my hand around the banister. And so sometimes you just need to see what the dream feels like. Like, you need to touch it so it becomes more real. So 2 weeks ago, we were on the outside looking in, and it was just like, ooh, wouldn't it be nice? Today, we're on the inside, touching, feeling, turning on the light switches, walking in the attic. So it's much more tangible, and it's much more real, and we know what it is on the inside. And if I do end up choosing that house, I won't pay him 1.3. I would probably offer him something closer to 750, because it's older. It's 20 years old. It's kind of dated. And so this is one of the things when I tell you to start preparing for your dream. So this month I did my residential contractor license to learn, so I could get my contractor's license to do rentals and stuff. And so I have a different knowledge base when I'm going in this house. So one of the questions that I asked her was, are these the original HVAC units on the house, and how many are there? Because if you're talking about buying a house, you need to understand this. But this was a lesson learned from a previous house that I lived in that was built in the 80s that still had the original unit, and my utility bill was sky high in the summertime because the units were outdated and they were working too hard. They were still working on the old Freon versus the new Freon. So when I'm asking her this question, and she was like, well, we replaced one of the compressors. So when you're talking about HVACs, the compressor and the HVAC system is two different things. So they replaced one of the compressors outside, but there's 5 units on this house. So for me, I know that's negotiating power if I want to put a offer down on the house, because you're talking about 5 units that are 20 years old that needs to be replaced. And with the size of this house, we're looking at a good 10 to 20,000 for each unit, depending on how many tons it needs to be, the energy efficiency. So when you're talking about buying a house, those are your negotiating tools to be able to bring your price down. But you saying you want to buy a house, how versed are you in knowing what questions to ask and knowing what to look for when you go look at the house versus relying on the home inspector so that you can have a negotiating chip? When you're talking about a dated kitchen, average kitchen reno is like 30, 40. So these people know that this house is dated, but they're banking on you not doing your homework. So what I'm saying is start daydreaming and preparing yourself for whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, whether it's buying a house, whether it's getting out of debt, whether it's taking a trip somewhere, whether you want to go back to school and get a degree. Like, start daydreaming again and start preparing. So that's what I want to encourage you all to do is start daydreaming again. Are we still streaming, guys? Because I just got a message that says recording has been stopped automatically. So I want you all to start daydreaming. One thing I remember doing, Williams and Sonoma. Um, I wish I would have seen this before you buy your miracle. We don't know what we don't know. So, it happens sometimes. But there may be another experience. So, daydream, do your homework. I remember my son used to work at Williams Sonoma Warehouse. And I don't know if you all are familiar with Williams and Sonoma, but they have some really pricey things in there. They have some really nice things in there. How do we get this off the screen, Diamond?
Movie recording has been stopped, but you're still live.
I know, but you can see this message on the screen. Yeah, how do we get this off? Yeah, we learning.
This OBS.
Stop. Oh, it stopped. Okay, yeah, it went away. Okay, y'all. We learning. Thank you for being patient as we learn for these technical difficulties. Anywho, so I went to Williams in Sonoma and I bought an apple peeler, y'all. That was the only thing I could afford in the store. And the apple peeler was on sale. And it was still $10. And so when I tell you daydream and do something where you can start feeling the reality of your dream, every time I use the apple peeler, I'm gonna tell y'all what was going through my head. Now, there's a different income level of people. They had a different income level who can comfortably shop at Williams Sonoma than I was at the time. And even though I'm making a little more change, I still don't shop in Williams and Sonoma. But I have something from Williams and Sonoma. I have shopped in Williams and Sonoma. So it's not unrealistic for me to expect or think that I can shop at Williams and Sonoma because guess what? I have an apple core from Williams and Sonoma. And so every time I would core my apple with this apple core, I feel the richness. Like I feel the abundance. I feel like financial increase. Like I feel like I belong in a place that I never thought I belonged before because I pushed myself to daydream to have this experience. And so what you'll find is you start daydreaming, some of the things that you desire or would like to have aren't really as far out of your reach as you think they are. They're just out of your reach because you haven't stretched yourself and pushed your limits to even try. So I want you all to daydream a little bit bigger. I want you to move a little closer into that thing that you're desiring, that thing that you're praying for, and that thing that you're asking for so that it seems more real to you and it doesn't seem untangible because you know what? I've already been in the vicinity. So this was one of the things in this daydreaming on this house. So a couple of weeks ago, we walked in the neighborhood. So guess what? When we went to see it today, it didn't feel uncomfortable. It didn't feel like, oh wow, this is something new. We had did it before. We already knew how to get there. We didn't have to use our GPS. We walked right to the place. Now, yes, earlier today my hair was super duper cute. Like it was straight and it looked like, I had some weave in my hair. But the humidity is serious in Memphis, so we kind of got rained on while we were looking at the house, so it puffed up. But the irony of it is the real estate agent that was showing us the house wasn't familiar with the neighborhood. And he was like, "Oh, I can give you a ride back home because now, mind you, I already stay in the neighborhood. I just walked out the side door of our apartment building and walked over." But he was trying to use his GPS to figure out how to get out the neighborhood. Guess what, y'all? I'm already in my neighborhood. I'm already comfortable. So I'm like, "No, turn right here. Oh, you can turn there, but I don't know where that goes, Dean. Let's just go straight and make a right at the yield sign. Oh, just go around the turnabout." So I'm comfortable in this neighborhood, even though nothing about my bank account says that I should be in this neighborhood or that I can afford this $1.3 million house. But you know what? It's a different feeling when you walk into a place and you got a little confidence because you know something about it, because you've been there. You know you're not a stranger. You know the ropes. It's kind of like when you go to high school, your freshman year, you a little shaky, but when you come in there sophomore year, you like, "What's up? Oh, you the fresh meat." So what I'm telling you is to get a little comfortable in your daydreaming so that when you start approaching your dream or your desire, you comfortable with it. It ain't as apprehensive. You're not scary. Oh, I know how that goes. When you get ready to go to security, I've already read up and I've prepared for this. So look, daydream, y'all. I know we grown. I know they told us to quit daydreaming. We probably got detentions, had to write sentences, lines, whatever you call it. But what I'm telling you is the evolution is real. And the best way for you to hatch your egg a little bit faster is to be prepared for whatever it is that you're asking for. Miss Carlise, have you started? Look, now I'm pick on you because we already know what your egg is that's coming up. Have you started buying the stuff for your classroom? Have you started researching the supplies, and have you started like making your plan of what you want to do with your kids on the first day of school? You guys, Miss Carlise is getting ready to be a licensed school teacher. She started her egg, I guess, probably about a year ago, right? And started doing her requirements and stuff to get her teacher's license. So she's already moving, but she can still move in even closer about figuring out what she wants her first day of school to look like. What's the theme she wants to have for her classroom. Like, y'all, I want y'all to start dreaming again. And as you start dreaming, I want you to move closer to your dream and start preparing and doing things. And like Miss Wanda said, your dream will get bigger. Like, it's gonna get bigger, and it's okay if it gets bigger. It's okay if you accomplish one dream and you get there and you're like, "You know what? I'm happy and I like this, but you know what, God? I think I want more." It's okay to want more. He gives us the desires of our heart, but only in accordance to how we believe. So I want to encourage you to dream bigger. I want to encourage you to daydream, and in daydreaming, I want you cool. That's what I'm talking about. See, Miss Carly's already on point. But I want you all to start getting in a place of expectation and preparation for these things that you're asking for. The best example that I've heard given is like when you're expecting a new baby. You start getting the nursery together. You start picking out what theme you want for the room, and you start going to the different stores, websites, and signing up for the registries. And you and your mate, you start picking out baby names, and you're deciding who's been most impactful in my life that I want to name my child after. And you start going through all of these things for preparing. And I want you to have that same amount of enthusiasm and put that same amount of effort in these other things that you're asking God for, whether it's a new car, whether it's a renewed mindset, whether it's a new house, whether it's going on a trip, even if it's something like you want to lose weight. Y'all been trying to y'all know I'm struggling with the weight loss. I know I'm not by myself. It's a whole thing. But at the same time, y'all know what I started doing today? I started going through my closet and getting rid of clothes, right? Because when I get fine again, like finer than I already am, I'm not gonna be able to fit some of the stuff. And truth is, I got stuff in my closet that I can't fit now, but I'm holding on to it in case I gain my weight back. Well, you know what? If I'm expecting to gain my weight back, guess what's gonna happen? I'm gonna gain my weight back. So I started getting rid of those things. Like last week, y'all seen I had on that shirt and a little camisole underneath it was all cattywampus because it didn't fit anymore. Quit holding on to that stuff that doesn't fit anymore. Whether it's your mindset, whether it's some clothes, whether it's this box that's been sitting on the corner waiting on you to go through it for the last 3 years, start clearing it out and getting to expectations. That's all I'm saying. That's Yeah, Miss Wanda, I don't want any more babies either. I inherited me a grandbaby though, and I'm enjoying being a nana. And I'm gonna be a nana that get called nana or grandma. I don't need one of them little cute little sexy names. I'm embracing my position in the family. Um, my position of leadership. That's a privilege. I understand that, and I understand that it's a privilege because I didn't get to grow up with my grandparents. So the Lord chooses to bless me with some surrogate grandbabies or some real grandbabies. I'm going to proudly be in my role, just like I'm trying to hold on to this gray hair because I know it's a blessing. So I want y'all to be in expectation. I want y'all to daydream, Bougie Club. That's what I got for y'all this Sunday. I want y'all to be daydreaming. I'm thinking of you. Daydreaming. I'm thinking of you. Start daydreaming, y'all. Start preparing and getting in a place of receiving for the things that you are asked for. And we're gonna look back on this video sometime in the near future. And I'm like, remember when we was talking about daydreaming? Y'all, guess what? We having a housewarming party. Like I'm so ready. Now it's probably not gonna be that house because even though it's beautiful and it has some of the things. I wanted something that was big enough for me to move my parents in the house with me because I travel a lot and I just want them to be closer and that house isn't conducive for that. But you don't know until you go. So that's what I want y'all to do, Bougie Club. That is your homework for this week as you all start daydreaming and getting closer to bringing your dreams to reality. Either hit me in the inbox, put some comments on this post, share y'all dreams or some of the ideas of things that you have done or that you plan on doing to daydream in real life until your reality matches the desire that you have in your heart. As always, I want to encourage you guys to be bold, outspoken, unapologetic, goodwill, inspiring, and epic every day. I am your girl, J. Penelope. I love you all in this life and the next. I want you to continue. Thank you. I'm glad you like this group, Mavis. Um, that's all I got for y'all. I love you all. Happy Sunday and good night.